We're going behind the scenes with home inspections. Hi, this is JP. Today I'm here with my friend Jared. I'm gonna run you through an inspection.
So I'm the owner of Windy City Home Inspection. I started this company up 24 years ago. Prior to that, I worked on the aircraft carrier of the John F. Kennedy when I was in the Navy. I used to inspect A6s, which is a bomber, so I've been inspecting for some time. We're certified through the American Home Inspectors Training Institute and most importantly, licensed through the state of Illinois. How I want clients to approach a home inspection is number one, we're looking for any structural concerns. Number two, point out any safety hazards. Number three, try to determine the age of some of your major components, your roof, air conditioning, furnace, hot water heater. We encourage you to use our report as a checklist of things to do. One of the first things I would do is do a complete walkthrough with you on the outside. We're looking at everything from the roof to the exterior to the electrical, looking at your air conditioning unit. One of the biggest things we're gonna teach clients on the outside is you don't wanna have, for example, negative grade with your landscaping. It's always your number one contributor to moisture problems in the basement. So what you'd like to have whenever possible is 5 to 6 feet away from the home, a 1 foot positive grade. So it's an example of a preventative maintenance item that we're gonna teach you that could hopefully save you, moisture problems and headaches in the future. Then we would go inside, and I always like to have clients follow me in the kitchen, the master bedroom, master bathroom. The reason I like people to follow me in the first couple rooms so you guys know what I'm looking for room to room, bathroom to bathroom. Then I'm just gonna start inspecting. If there's something I see and I need to show you, I'm gonna call for you. When I get to anything else I haven't shown you, we will go over. So why don't we pop over to the kitchen, we'll just do a quick walkthrough on what we're looking at and some of these key points.
All right, so we're here in the kitchen. Jared, what should we be looking at?
So the first thing I'm looking at in the kitchen, I wanna make sure your countertops and cabinets are nice and solid. I wanna make sure nothing is falling down on you. We don't want that. Throughout the home, I want to check to make sure you have adequate water pressure, drainage, and no leaking down below. The best way to test for leaks is to fill it up with a little bit of water and test it while it's under pressure. I'm also gonna be giving a little tidbits on things with home ownership. For example, when you use your disposal, you want to use cold water because hot water can break down the chemicals of some vegetables and cause it to clog.
So when it comes to the kitchen, this is something I hear you talk about a lot, and it's the dishwasher loop under the sink. What's happening here?
So the dishwasher drain line is going into the waste line right there. Very often we find that the dishwasher drain line goes to the disposal.
Okay.
They don't want them to do that anymore because it can create backflow to the dishwasher. So it's a very easy fix.
Yeah, so the dishwasher line right now is connected to the waste line there.
And you don't want to connect it to the disposal.
There because you can get backflow.
Dirty backflow.
Well, that makes sense. Awesome.
Outlets. I want to make sure you don't have an open ground or a reverse polarity. If you do, that would be a safety hazard. Outlets in wet locations, you want to have GFCIs, which is what the circuit breaker is. It's called the ground fault circuit interrupter. So they are recommended your kitchen, bathroom, exterior outlets. You don't want them anywhere else in the home. You don't want it where your refrigerator is because any little surge in power would trip the breaker. Let's say you're blow drying your hair and you dropped your hairdryer in a sink full of water, it would cut the power out. So it is a nice safety feature. This outlet looks like a regular outlet, but when I tested it with my tester, it lets me know it's daisy chained to this one.
These here are daisy chained, right?
Correct.
So a lot of times I see, we've done a lot of inspections together, that is not the case, where there's only one and all the others aren't chained together. Like, is that an issue?
We want to have GFCIs in wet locations. I'm not a code inspector, but as home inspector, we're familiar with codes. And when it first came out, it was within 6 feet of water. Now, in a kitchen, an outlet can be 15 feet away, but if it's in the kitchen, it needs to be a GFCI.
Is that a big cost?
The most common thing we come across in home inspections are electrical issues. The good news is they're typically pretty inexpensive things to correct. A GFCI is 15 bucks. A reverse polarity would mean that those two wires are backwards. It's a very easy fix. So these are important things to have corrected, but typically they're inexpensive things. One of the biggest things I'm looking for on the inside are cracks and signs of moisture. It's very important if you come across any moisture, you want to take care of it right away. We have moisture detectors, but I also have a thermal imaging camera. So at the end, I'm always gonna do a complete thermal scan. The biggest thing I'm looking for is moisture behind walls, overloaded circuit breakers. So it's a pretty neat tool that does a bunch of different things. Throughout the home, I'll be checking windows. I wanna make sure the seals haven't failed, they operate smoothly, indicate whether you have a heat source or not. Looks like on this level, your heat sources are in your floor. I'm then just gonna run all the appliances.
So here we are in the main bathroom. What are some things that we're looking at?
So when it comes to plumbing, I always like to start on the highest level bathroom. In case there's a leak, hopefully we see it during the home inspection. So we're here in the master bathroom. I'm checking a lot of the same things that we just checked in the kitchen. Water pressure, drainage, make sure that there's no leaking down below. Again, the best way to test for pressure is to fill it up with a little bit of water and test it while it's under pressure. Check your outlet, make sure it's wired up properly, it's GFCI protected. We'll then go to the shower and tub areas. I want to make sure that the caulk and grout is good. I'm real picky when it comes to this area. You don't want water to get behind the walls. We're then going to turn on the shower, flush the toilets, run the sinks. The dishwasher is going to be running at the same time because we just left the kitchen. So I'm looking to make sure we have good water pressure in the shower. I then will get on my hands and knees to make sure that there's no cracks or leaks in the toilet bowl and that the bowl itself is nice and tight. In every bathroom, you need to either have an operating window or an exhaust fan. It's very important to have one of those things so it will allow the moisture to escape.
All right, so two things that I see you go over a ton is loose toilet bowl, seeing if it shakes, and then missing grouts. So first thing, why is it a bad thing if the toilet is loose?
If it becomes loose, there's a wax seal that's underneath there, and that wax seal can fail and then it can leak. So that's why we definitely want to make sure it's always tight. As far as grout goes, when it comes to anywhere where water can get behind the wall, shower, tub, sink areas is where I am focused. Anything outside the shower tub area is cosmetic. And we're not going to be looking for anything cosmetic unless it's new construction. So that's, segueing into something else. That's the big difference between a regular home inspection and new construction. New construction, we're also looking for cosmetic things.
Got it, cool, thanks.
Yep. So we're in the bedroom here. Basically in the rest of the rooms, I'm looking for cracks, signs of moisture, check windows, outlets, indicate whether you have a heat source or not. Over here, we have a smoke and CO detector above us. I want to be looking for a smoke and carbon monoxide detector on every level. Now the carbon monoxide detector is just as important because you cannot smell carbon monoxide. Also, it's recommended to replace them every 10 years. So once you start to see them turn yellow, it's time to change them.
All right, so now that we're in the basement, what are some things we should be looking for in here?
So my number one concern in basements always, I'm looking for any structural concerns. So I'm gonna identify what type of foundation you have, make sure the girders and columns are in good shape. Number two, I'm looking for any signs of moisture. Usually, if you can't see any moisture, usually you can smell it. So those are the two biggest things we're looking for. Right away, I'm noticing this is the main water shutoff. I'm gonna tag that with a main water shutoff sign. Very important that you know where the main water shutoff is. This will turn off the water throughout the entire home. All right, so we're here in the mechanical room. A few things that I'm looking for. This is your sanitary pump. I wanna make sure your crack is sealed. You have a check valve and it's vented. This is your sump pump. Whenever possible, we're gonna be testing those. I'm also gonna recommend a battery backup because if the power ever went out during a big rainstorm, your sump pump wouldn't work and you could get some flooding. This right here is your fuel meter here, your gas shutoff. Here we have a nice tankless hot water heater. Any hot water heater, want to make sure the tank is in good condition. You have a relief valve and a relief extension that should always be near the ground. But your heat exchanger is all within inside of here. We'll take a closer look at that. We want to make sure we have a nice blue uniform flame, not a lot of orange or distortion. Anything older than 10 years, I always recommend to get your furnace serviced on a yearly basis. Some people do it from brand new and on, and that's fine. But at 10 years, the biggest reason I recommend it is because your heat exchanger is starting to naturally rust. So they'll come in here, do a more in-depth inspection, clean it out, change out your filter, and it can definitely help extend the life of it. Here's a quick little tidbit of info. I hear from heating and cooling contractors that say all the time, use the cheap filters on your furnace, because the high-end filters make the furnace run too hard. So it's the one time you can go cheap and it's actually better for your furnace. The cheap filter might say 30 days on it. You don't have to be so religious with that, but every couple months you do want to change out that filter. This right here is your refrigerant line that goes out to your condenser. That should always be insulated. One thing that's important to remember, don't turn on your AC until it's above 60 degrees for a 24-hour period on the outside. So a good rule of thumb, just don't turn it on until you need to and you'll be fine. All right, one of the most important parts of the inspection is taking a look at the electrical panel to make sure everything is wired up properly. I always like to tell clients when you're approaching an electrical panel, you want to listen to make sure you do not hear any buzzing. If you do, you want to stay away from it. When you're standing right in front of one, always take the back of your hand to make sure it's not hot. I say that because if it was hot, you'd still get a shock, but this way I'm going to hit myself versus you go like this, you're going to wrench out your shoulder. So I'm just trying to save your shoulder. Plus, it's a rule of thumb, if this is a wire, take the back of your hand. If you go like this, you'll end up grabbing it. You won't be able to let go. I always take off the panel and I'm gonna identify what the amperage is coming into the home, whether it's aluminum or copper. I also want to identify aluminum or copper for your branch. You don't want to have aluminum. Then I'm looking to make sure you don't have any undersized wires for your breakers or any double tapping, which would mean you'd have more than one wire per breaker. Now this panel is great because you have room for a couple more breakers and you never want to double tap before the main. I want to make sure that there's no signs of rust or moisture. Okay, laundry room. What I look for here is I want to make sure your outlet's wired up properly. Anytime you have a gas dryer, you need to have a gas shutoff and it needs to be vented out with a metal hose. I'm also going to recommend a drip pan underneath the washing machine. This one has a drain. So I would recommend having a drip pan connecting directly into the drain.
All right, so we're here in the garage. What are some things we should be looking at?
The biggest thing I'm looking for is the safety features on your garage door. So JP, I'm gonna put you to work if you can hit that button for me.
You got it.
The safety reverse, the first thing, when it's under pressure, I wanna make sure it comes back up. So I give it a little tug here. One more time, and you also have a motion sensor. So when you break the beam of light, it should also come back up. This is very important, especially with kids or with animals.
Jared, that was awesome. I really appreciate your time today. Why don't you tell everybody what is it that you offer that's different from most people?
Well, thanks for having me. We really pride ourselves in our customer service. So if you have questions down the road, I don't care if it's 5 years down the road or if it means us coming back out, that's the customer service you get with Windy City. With every inspection we do, it comes with a 90-day warranty, a mold warranty, a sewer guard warranty, and a 5-year roof warranty. The reason I bought into this for all my clients is because I've been doing this for over 20 years and I can't tell you how often I'll get a phone call where the dishwasher's leaking day one or the AC is not working a week later. So this will give you peace of mind if something does fail and it's under the warranty, you should be covered.
Cool, awesome. Appreciate your time today, man.
Thank you.